I think of myself as a gentle mom, not in I've got this all figured out way, more like I try not to yell. I give my kid choices. I feel pretty good about that. I thought I was doing the thing, the soft, calm, and modern parenting thing. And then I came across an interview with this guy, Dmitry Zitser. You've probably never heard of him. He's an educator, kind of a big name back home. He runs schools in a few different countries and make these podcasts about raising kids. The authorities there even label him for Asian agent, which is that system mostly means he's saying things they'd rather he didn't. So I'm watching, nodding along, feeling very seen until he gets to the part about boundaries. And he says more or less half of what parents probably called setting a boundary is just manipulation wearing a nicer outfit. And the thing is, he was describing me. So before I tell you where he lost me, let me tell you where I was nodding along. Money. He talks about giving kids real hands-on practice with money, somewhere around 3 or 4. You take your kid to the supermarket with an actual budget. Here's what we've got for today. You choose. And the kid slowly learns what money actually is. Limits. That picking one thing means not picking another. My son is only 2.5, so for me this is a give me about 6 months situation. Grades are where it got sharper. The interviewer asked Zitser, does paying kids for good marks work? And he said, of course it works, so does prostitution. And I'm like, what? His point is that when I pay my kid for a top grade, I'm buying his time, his effort, the way he thinks. And I used to think rewarding good grades was sweet or something like that. A little prize for good learning. Where's harm? But the catch is where he ends up chasing. He doesn't fall in love with knowing things. He falls in love with the reward for performing them. He learns for the prize, not for the thing itself. The whole post-Soviet Union school system kind of runs on it. You work for the grade, not because the subject is interesting, not because you want to know it or the number. It's even shifted how I think about school for young. We might stay here, and if we do, I used to just picture the normal school, the regular one. Now I catch myself wanting a different kind of place, one where he's actually into learning, where he and his teacher are working on knowing things, not working for grades, and definitely not for money somebody hands him for those grades. So far, me and Zitser on the same page, which is exactly why the next part stunk. Zitser starts talking about the phrase every parent reaches for. We agreed, or deal, we'll play for 10 more minutes and go home, okay? We agreed, right? Deal? And he basically says that it's not an agreement. An agreement is two-sided. It's mutual. Both people actually want it. Both people actually said yes. When I announce the terms and my kid says, okay, that's not a deal. That's a condition I handed him on the wrapping paper of a deal. And then I get to feel fair about it. He has a blunter word for it. Manipulation, 100%, he says. And I sat there because that's me. I do the 10-minute thing. I say, okay, we agreed, in this bright, reasonable voice, and my son just goes, okay. Of course he goes, okay. He doesn't know what 10 minutes is. He's not negotiating. He's not consenting to anything. He's handing sound back to me. So the nice tone keeps going. There's no we in it. There's me with a plan, dressing it up so it feels gentle. And the alternative he gives is almost irritating because it's so simple. You don't make a fake deal. You make a request. You just say the true thing. I need to leave now, or please, we need to leave. I'm tired. I want to go home. A request is honest about who's actually deciding. The fake agreement pretends it's shared when it isn't. I'm not saying I've stopped doing it, but I can't unhear it now. Okay, but the conversation doesn't stay with toddlers. It jumps ahead to the version of this that actually scares parents. Picture it. Your kid is a teenager now. It's night. They were supposed to be home by now and they're not picking up the phone. That's the situation someone puts to him, and his answer is consistent with everything else he'd say. Don't dress it up as, but you promised, we agreed. Make it an honest request. And this is the part I didn't expect. He admits he can't switch the fear off either. He says he just doesn't sleep until the kid is home. So this isn't a guru telling me to be calm and chill. He's scared too. His point is narrower. The fear is fair enough. You just don't get to weaponize it. I'm scared can't quietly become so do what I say. Your fear isn't a leash. And here's where I actually land, which is maybe closer to him than I expected. I think you can make a real agreement. A genuinely two-sided one. You sit down, you pick a time together that works for them and doesn't fry me, and you agree what happens when it passes. Either we renegotiate, you text me, we extend it, or if you've gone silent, I can't reach you, I'm calling the police, because at that point that isn't me being controlling, my kid is actually missing. And the worry itself isn't made up. I don't love walking alone at night in certain areas myself, so I'm not going to pretend it comes from nowhere. This hasn't fully landed for me yet. I need to live with it. Jan is too small, so I've got years before any of this come up. And even then, the idea of completely letting go, of actually releasing that control, I'm not completely there. I can't quite do it. Can't. And I don't know yet how I'll handle it when the time comes. And maybe that's the whole thing he's pointing at. If the relationship is solid, why wouldn't a kid honor that request? By then they're a whole person. They notice when you're struggling and they want to do something for you the same way you do for them. You don't force a partner into my way, no other way. You talk to them like a person. That's the relationship he's describing. I think I just need time to trust it. And what do you think about setting boundaries in the context of nighttime walks? I would like to know. I fully agree with Zitser when he rejects every form of violence against the child. He won't give an inch on the idea that a little smack is anything other than hitting. And neither will I. Physical force is never an option, period. But while that line is clear for me, the real struggle is what happens when the patience runs out. I'm not an even-toned parent every single day. My specific challenge isn't physical, it's my temper. When I'm overwhelmed, I become short-tempered and I raise my voice. I'm not scream on him, but I talk louder. I hate it sometimes. I say sorry afterward, but I know that apologizing isn't the same as catching that rising heat in time. That vocal edge is the manipulation and the soft violence I'm actually trying to overcome. There's one moment I keep coming back to. I was putting my son to bed, he kept climbing on me, jumping on me, and I keep saying it. That hurts, please don't do it. And every time he'd wrap his little arms around me and comfort me, seemingly apologetic for the pain he caused, and then keep right on going. I'd stop him, he'd do it again, and I was exhausted. I wanted to sleep. He would not sleep. There was no one here to help me with Jan. And this is not a thing I do usually. This was out of the ordinary, and it caught me off guard as much as him. In that second, it suddenly hurt so much, and something just boiled over me before I could react any better. I poked him like, excuse me, I poked him like, and it hurt him. He was upset. I said sorry right away, hugged him. I felt awful. I shouldn't have done it, but it happened. And yes, it was hard. I was alone with him running on empty, but that's not an excuse. I could have stood up, walked myself out of the moment, stopped it that way, and I didn't. Next time, I want to do that instead. What I'm not going to do is tear myself apart over it, because in my experience, that is just leads somewhere worse. I'd rather take it in and decide what I don't want to do again. Parenting is only about joy. There is another thing Zitser says that I keep chewing on. Someone asked him, why do people have kids? And his answer is basically for ourselves. And yeah, sure, for the joy of it. Same reason we do anything else in life. We have kids for the kick of watching a whole person change right in front of us. Try things, become someone, show up one day with purple lipstick looking like a little scarecrow. And he says even that the part that annoys you is part of the relationship. It's all the joy. And I'm with him partly. That reframe is lovely. When it's good, it really is the best thing going. But only about joy is where I want to add something, because parenting isn't a weekend, it's the rest of my life, and the stretch that long doesn't stay one temperature. The relationship shifts, I shift. Some seasons I've got everything to give, and some seasons I've got almost nothing left. Like with anyone else in my life, sometimes Jan is the reason why my mood drops. Or something he did is. That's normal, but my mood and what I do with it, that's mine. That's my responsibility. It doesn't mean I hide it from him, but it just as much doesn't mean I get to pour it onto him, yell at him, let alone anything physical. How I react, how I let it out, that's on me as a parent, because he can't answer me back on equal footing. He's too small and he might be scared. Parent is always the stronger one, if not in size, then in the plain fact that I can shape his whole life. And being the stronger one is not a reason to use it. And none of that means I owe him a flawless, always joyful version of myself either. That parent doesn't exist. Life comes in all kinds of weather. So what's left isn't be perfect. It's smaller and harder. Notice when I got it wrong, say so, and actually work on it. That's the whole job, I think. Where I landed. I came into this already knowing his word. I heard him plenty before, and he still managed to take a word I'd never once stopped to think about in the context of my relationship with the child, boundaries, and show me how much of it was just me managing the situation, dressed up like it's fair. He was right about a lot of it. He lost me on some of it, and one part still hasn't finished landing. And I think that's the actual ending without 5 steps method, because every one of us is parenting out of a different bag, different things that happened to us, different ways we were raised, different stuff we are still carrying from back when we were kids. There is no correct way, which is also why a certain kind of content makes me go a little stiff. The mom influencers with the one true method, the single right way, and if you're not doing it, well, here's what this says about you. I can get comfortable there. By the way, I watched an interview, I recognized it myself in some uncomfortable places, and I'm going to keep working on the parts I don't like. And what do you think about all of it? Tell me in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Bye.